clearly we're gonna have to talk about mud, right? The thumbnail said so, and you know, there's this stuff. And we need to talk about concrete and the condensate neutralizer. And the fact that Franklin, well, joined the 20th century. Because we have running water. So a little story time for Frankie. Now I'm down here jackhammering this corner out because I could see that there was a slump in the concrete. Between that and all of the sand that's on the other side of this foundational wall in the crawl space area that didn't look natural. I knew, well, actually let me back up yet again. What had happened is that the house had 4 tenants in it. Every unit had its own propane monitor. Now, according to the lore, if you will, those 4 tenants bonded together and decided to vacate the premises. When they did, they either took the heaters with them or shut them down, never contacted the landlord. The house froze. All the pipes. Now, during demo, I can't remember now, it's been so long, if I showed all the different burst pipes in this house, and there was a slew of them. Oh, right, so the water just ran and ran and ran and ran for, what happened is, so all the water was in here, it had to find a way out. And when it did, it went through the cracks and whatnot in the concrete, went through the stone foundation, traveling all the sand and dirt in this corner out with it. Created a hollow spot underneath here. Now this water ran for so long that and it was winter time, obviously, because the pipes burst, that the whole backyard, the whole retaining wall, everything was this giant ice fall. Well, all the extra water went into Steve's basement and caused a heck of a lot of damage to his property and boiler and everything. At least that's how the story goes. Well, you fast forward however many years, when I purchased the property and started gutting, started putting all the clues together, and then hearing that story, everything makes sense. The slump that was in this floor, the extra sand that's in the crawl space, it all just makes sense. So what happened is that when the sand all traveled through there, it created this big hollow spot. And I'll show you here just momentarily. Just by jackhammering, I haven't removed anything yet, you'll see just how deep this little cavity is. And so I'm just going to take this concrete that I broke up, fill the hole, and then just pour a new slab over the top. Very basic, but it's just another one of those little things that I probably could overlook, but I know it's there, I know what's going on, I can't look past it. And, well, you know, the house is being sheetrocked, so I can do little bonus projects like this. Alright, let me show you. There. All that level right up there. Concrete is 3 inches thick. Okay, so 12 inches, full foot of soil and eroded out of this section and went through the retaining wall, or not retaining wall, the foundation wall. You know, it's really quite common back in the day that anything subterranean, they went mortar, and so soil can travel through it. And it's just line mortar, so it breaks down pretty easily anyway. And it's 130 years old. So you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, you get a 1 foot deep hole. So I'm gonna fill this up with all the broken bits of concrete that I have laying around, and then we'll put another 2 to 3 inch slab inside here. Super. Well, it's getting pretty late, pretty fast. I completely ignored the alarm when it went off, and I just kept going with the concrete. And I have 3 bags left, and that should just about do it. I have a little bit extra, but I started feeling pretty tired, so I checked the clock, and sure enough, it's late. So I'm gonna head home, and we'll finish this up in the morning. Well, what day is it today? Man, this week's just scooting by. Wednesday. It's Wednesday because I took Monday off. That's right. Came in, knocked out the rest of this concrete, so it's all set. And now we're gonna do a little bit of electrical. The stuff that we kind of pre-ran last week. Let's go ahead and hook all that stuff up. Yeah, let's do that. There you have it. The dishwasher, the line is now ran. Now I just need to put the cover back on. Typically, especially working alone, I don't mind having the cover off of these, but you know, with the sheetrockers coming in and out and they're moving so fast, I would rather not leave it off, just in case. I mean, they're professionals, they've been on job sites their whole lives, but you know, why risk it? It's 2 screws. Some more of my friends popped in today to have a look around, and they are impressed, I guess you could say. And you know, today while we were working, I asked, you know, all the sheetrockers what they would use this little back room for. You know, the room I call the garden room, and you know, they're from Canada originally, and so especially the old guy Pete there, he'll speak in French, and he said, well, we would call this the blah 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 blah. Well, what does that mean? Basically a catch-all, right? And I asked my friends what they would use this room for, and they really just didn't know. And I don't know. I guess, what would you use this room for? Let's turn the lights on for you. So you have to go through the basement utility space to get there. It's the only real access to the backyard. So that's why I call it the garden room. Yeah. Alright. Well, let's open up this little box here. See what we have. Uh-oh. This is not what I was expecting. So this is the problem when you're not the one ordering the part. Bummer. Big fat bummer. Alright, so it's a doorbell, right? So this one is designed to be mounted into a double box and have the power ran to it, and then you run your wires out to the doorbell button and back. That's not how I wired the house. I have the house wired to have the power down here, and then have the transformer mounted down here, have remote wiring to the doorbell and then to the switch. So I don't think we're gonna do this. I'm going to see if I can return said item, and yeah. Go a different route. The route I wired the house for. Baby. Oops. Now if I have to, I can wire the house up this way. It's not the end of the world. I can run a new wire up to the doorbell location and cut out all that blocking and, you know, all that. It can be done. Maybe I'll sleep on that. Well, what else can I do? Good morning. So today I want to put a slop sink in because I've noticed that the guys are using buckets of water and washing their hands and their tools and such, and well, it's kind of slowing things down a little bit. So I'll make sure I give them a place that they can wash up all their tools, and when it comes to painting, it'll make their lives so much easier. So that's what we're going to do today. Well, it's been a while since we've been down here, eh? I still even have the drain hose connected. Anyway, let's go ahead and connect to the sewer. That way we can use that new sink. I left my 45 down here for myself. I do not see the 4-inch Fernco though. So what I'm thinking here is, because this little petcock here is halfway up this pipe, from here all the way over, we're gonna have that much water inside of here. And I wanna be able to keep this assembly to be able to use in future projects. And because, you know, each one of these components is pretty expensive, and you add it all up, and there's probably $80, $100 sitting here. If I were to drill a hole here, you know, here, and then maybe have some sort of a funnel going in there. I'll be right back. Well, here's what I came up with. That piece of 1.5 inches that I was using to install that sink with, I just put in the chop saw, made a couple of long cuts, and broke the tab off. So the water should be able to drop into here, and then, you know, out the bottom. Let's see if it works. Like that, going off there, so let's drill a hole right there. I'm gonna get wet. Ha! Look at that! Ah. Well, that went way smoother than I was expecting. I'll go let that drip for a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, so we're gonna do a glue joint here with a 45, but then attach the PVC to the cast iron. We're going to use what's called a Fernco, which is just a rubber sleeve with a couple hose clamps on it. These things work super slick, especially on waste. You don't want to put them on a pressure system, but on a wastewater system, these things work slick, especially when you're trying to go to two different medias. So let's throw this together. Remember last time when I turned the water on, I could hear water running, and it ended up being water flowing out of this because I didn't put the actual valve in the cartridge. So I learned my lesson, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it correctly this time. Whoa, my eyes are burning. Whoa. Sheetrockers are running these kerosene heaters, and let me tell you, the fumes from those things are brutal. Every time I do this, I have to relearn how it works. Every time. All right. There it is. Now you want to be gentle with those. You don't want to just jam them in there. You can cut the O-ring. And those you want to be careful with too. This one is metal, but I can tell it's a very flimsy metal, and I don't want to be too tight with it or I'll snap it. All right. Just make sure it's in the off position. And we should be able to turn the water on. Wow, look at that. We've moved up in the world. We have running water. Ta-da! Oh, it's the little things that make you happy, isn't it? Well, now the sheetrockers can wash up all their instruments. Yeah, I am a little on the fence about having something brand new and then letting them use it to wash their equipment and buckets and all that. But you know, I'd much rather make their lives easier. It just goes along with that whole take care of your subcontractors and they'll take care of you. And the next time I call them, you know, these guys are going to want to work with me. So, there it is. And, well, that's about all I got done today. Between running around and helping them out and whatever. That's it. Connected to the sewer. Yeah. Wow. I installed the sink. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. All right. Well, good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It's Friday, and the guys are, what are they, applying second coat for the sheetrock, and I am just, picking away at the little project list. And today we're going to start out by running the boiler condensate line and run the wire for the doorbell, because I decided to keep the other style of doorbell. Let's go do that. So here we have the high efficiency boiler, right? So it burns propane in order to heat the water. During combustion, a condensate is formed, and that water is very acidic. So what we need to do with that highly acidic water is neutralize it somehow before we allow it to enter into either a private or public sewer, private being a septic system, because the acidity of the water can disrupt the natural biome inside of either sewer system, and the acid loves to eat metal. I mean, this stuff will eat through copper, steel, it doesn't matter, it will eat it. So a very simple device is this neutralizer here. And the way you install it is you want it to be slightly out of level. Okay? So just like in plumbing, we have a 1/4 inch down per foot. Something like that, maybe not even that aggressive. And you want your inlet to be high, so it allows the water to come in, so it'll step in through here, fill up this container, and then flow out of this tube here. And in my case, I have it going into a condensate pump, and then from the condensate pump, we're pumping it up into the main sewer line, or wastewater line, I should say, in the house. All right, we're gonna run that condensate line into the main trunk. And I wanted to run it into a section that had a 3-inch pipe. So this is the closest one that I have to the boiler. And that's because we're gonna put this little guy in. Now this little guy has a threaded section here and a barbed section here. We're gonna put the tubing over the barb, but we had to be able to thread this into something. That's why I wanted to go in a 3-inch pipe, because it was a bigger piece, had more meat to put the threads into, and then we get a better chance of sealing up. So we're gonna drill it out and then run a tap. The tap will, cut the threads for us. When it comes to tapping a hole, you have to be really careful that you're going in completely straight and you're not kicking it one way or the other while you're working it. Now they make a tool that goes over the top of this. It has 2 handles on it, which I wouldn't be able to get into this location. So we're going to do it with a simple crescent wrench. Just going to take my time and just worry about it being straight. Now that I've got it in there pretty far, I'm going to go ahead and keep screwing it in a few more times and allow it to really thread into the plastic. Don't use this type of procedure when you're doing metal. So if this were a steel pipe, cast iron, I would not be doing it this way. There's a completely different technique for metal. So now I'm ready to put it in. Put some blue goo on the threads, because you don't want those sewer gases, coming back out. This stuff is like anti-seize. Once you get it on you, man, everything you touch from here on out will become blue. All right, let's get the hose. Have the tube coming in here, and now I'm going to try to find some zip ties or some string or something. I'm going to bring this tubing down and attach it to this other piece of PVC, so I have this drip leg right in here, and that allows me to have a quasi P-trap to keep the exhaust gases or sewer gases from backing up into my boiler system. So much for all that snow that we had. Goodness, it is just a muddy, mucky mess back here. But that might mean that we can get the rest of this seeded this year. As you can see, we only got that far. So we'll see how this weekend treats us. Oh my, what do we have here? Yep, our friendly raccoon is back. Goodness, where did he go? Looks like he went up through there. He probably went to that abandoned house over there. Well, as long as he stays out of my house, it's fine. So we're installing the doorbell, so you have to have the transmitter wire from the switch outside and that power source. And you know, originally, I think I mentioned already that I wanted to have this be a transformer mounted in the basement, where this one, the transformer is mounted in the unit, so that's why I had to bring power in, just in case I didn't clarify that. So all I did is take a double gang box, cut the ears off for the nailing flange, and just cut a hole, and then we're just going to screw it into that block, because we have a block sitting here that we're originally just going to, you know, run the wire through and then mount it through the sheetrock through that. But yeah, I'm just going to do it this way. I tell you, these sheetrockers, they sure do like it warm in here. Whew. I've got the boiler tuned up to about 70 degrees. Whew, that's too hot for me. And now my wife doesn't have to worry about returning the doorbell. Well, as I walk around, you know, the place is still just really taking shape. I'm so happy I didn't have to do this myself. I really thank Pete and Brad and, you know, Riley for being here. And next week, they're gonna have this thing wrapped up. I am gonna have them paint it. I decided that it just wasn't worth my time. And for the amount of money they charge to paint it versus my time and the opportunity for me to start working for customers again, I'm really focused on that. So we're gonna have them paint it, and the next time you guys see this, it should be in finished paint. If everything goes well, we should be in finished paint by next week. So that means I get to start right in on trim, hanging doors, and all that. I mean, I probably won't get to that next week, but it doesn't matter. It's coming. Well, ooh, that does mean I can start ripping up floors though. That's probably what I'll be doing next week. But you know how these plans go, they're always changing. Well, thank you for stopping by High Peaks Home.